Hi folks, how's it going? I hope everybody's well, and you are very welcome to our junior cycle history predictions video with ExamRevision.ie. My name is Niall Lenihan, and today we're going to be going through a number of things that we feel are going to make an appearance on the junior cycle history exam in June 2024. So to begin, there are 6 topics in total which I believe are going to make an appearance on the exam. So the first one is the work of a historian. Secondly, then we have life and death in medieval times. Thirdly, we have the plantations. Fourth, we have the parliamentary traditional Irish politics. Fifth, we have the experience of women in 20th century Ireland. And lastly, we have the European Union and Ireland's links with Europe. Now, before going any further, I'm just going to show you briefly some of the things on offer on the ExamRevision platform. So the ExamRevision platform offers the complete revision package, okay? So basically, whatever courses you decide to do, whether it's junior cycle, Leaving Cert, history, geography, science, maths, biology, etc., you will find bite-sized video tutorial guides covering every topic on the course. You will find PowerPoint presentations to go along with it. You will get H1 and distinction standard notes. There will be exam and mock paper questions, so you can create your own exam based off the previous exam questions. There's an exam building section. They all have marking schemes. There is self-correcting quizzes, and there is also a reflection log and smart adaptive technology to guide students' learning. Okay, so it really is the complete learning package for you to, I suppose, learn independently in conjunction with what you do in school. So you get all this as part of the different, I suppose, packs that you can sign up for. Okay, now special offer at the moment. So if you use 2024 tips, you'll get 10% off a package deal if you put that in at the checkout. So here you can see the 8 junior cycle subjects available: Irish, English, maths, history, science, geography, business, and home economics. And here are the 17 Leaving Cert subjects available. So your Irish, English, maths, history, geography, ag science, physics, applied maths, biology, chemistry, business, economics, French, Spanish, music, and PE. Okay, and you know, again, you guys are getting the entire course all condensed into short videos that you can watch in your own time. So in terms of a financial, I suppose, side of it, it's far cheaper than getting, you know, one-to-one grinds with a teacher, for example, and you can do it all in your own time. You can pause and rewind videos as well. So I'm just going to briefly show you what it could look like. Okay, so if you click onto the website here, okay, you can see the different topics in front of you. All right, so again, you click onto one of these topics, and what you'll do is you will get video tutorials, presentations, distinction notes, resource packs, quizzes, and exam questions. Okay, so there really is an absolute wealth of resources and things to help you cover the course to cater for all learning styles and abilities. The ExamRevision, I suppose, website is used not only by students but also by teachers. Okay, and these are just some of the excellent reviews from students, but many teachers use it as well. Okay, because for a teacher teaching the course, signing up makes sense because it provides all the, I suppose, necessary materials they'll need to cover the course with their students. All right, so if you want, you can have a quick Google of the ExamRevision reviews to see for yourself. Okay, guys, so we're now going to dive into just a bit more specific detail on the 6 predictions. Okay, so the first prediction was the work of a historian. This is really important. This is the one question that is a guarantee to appear on your exam. Okay, so I suppose understanding what a historian does, understanding different types of sources, primary, secondary, understanding bias, propaganda, biographies, autobiographies, fact, opinion, knowing all those different things about sources, okay, it's guaranteed to be on the paper. Now, it could come up as like an entire question, but if it doesn't, it's guaranteed to be in some way, shape, or form throughout the other questions on the paper. Okay, so there could be a question on, say, the 1916 Rising, and then there could be a part B, C, or D thrown in saying, is this a primary or secondary source, for example. Okay, so it's a really, really important topic. On the next slide, I'm going to show you why. So even though you're only going to be the third group to sit junior cycle history in its new form, these are just some of the questions we've had so far related to the work of a historian. Okay, so difference between an archive and a museum, for example. All right, knowing about an archive museum, so know a specific example of one, and know basically, an item in the course. Okay, so for example, Trinity College Library has the Book of Kells. Explain one advantage of showing information about the blight on a map rather than a written paragraph. So that means you need to know the strengths and weaknesses of different types of sources. So a strength and a weakness of a written source, a visual source, a tactile source, an oral source, an oral source. Okay. Primary and secondary source. Okay, so you need to know the difference there. Primary source comes directly from the time period being studied. Another one here, so comparing information from two different sources. Okay, autobiography, so difference between a biography and an autobiography. A biography was written by the person themselves. An autobiography was written by somebody else. Okay, so my autobiography would be a book that someone wrote about me. Okay, different types of sources. Okay, so again, if you're looking at the Holocaust, what are types of sources you could consult? You could consult newspaper articles, you could consult letters from survivors, timelines. Okay, so that's very important. Timelines, how many decades are in a time or in this particular timeline. Again, is source to a primary or secondary source? Is Elizabeth Richards positive, negative, or neutral, for example? Differences between an archive and the library. So they are just some of the topics that have come up from chapter 1 that you need to know. So second prediction for a topic on the exam is life and death in medieval times. Again, it hasn't actually appeared on the exam yet. And what it could look like is it could be like a source-based question. You could be given a picture of the Bayeux Tapestry, for example. You could be given a diary entry. You could be given a piece of artwork. And then you might have questions related to that source, but then there could be a longer, maybe a part F or part G or something, where students have to write an account of life in medieval times. Okay. Again, it hasn't actually appeared on either of the exams in 2022 and 2023. So I believe there's a strong chance it might appear on your exam. So just continuing on with the topic of life and death in medieval times, you might recognize this question. Okay. So this question basically is from a sample paper. So it didn't actually come up on the junior cycle exam, but it is on the sample paper. Okay. Basically, that was a paper that was given to teachers at the whole start of all this, so we could see what an exam question might look like. All right. So this could be kind of what the long question could look like, where you're given a medieval setting and you have to write about like the life of people living there. Okay. So, for example, in this case, it's living conditions, working life, leisure, defending the settlement, religion, illness and death, etc., etc. So it's really, really important to be able to know and understand what life is like for people living in medieval manors or villages or towns, etc. The third prediction I have is the plantations, okay? And it'd be specifically, you more than likely do the Ulster plantation. That's what most of the textbooks do. That's what most teachers generally do, because the Ulster plantation had the biggest impact on Ireland. Again, it hasn't appeared on the exam yet. Now, it did appear on that sample paper I just mentioned, but it hasn't appeared on an actual junior cycle exam that students have sat. Again, what could it look like? It'll probably be a source-based question, and then there'll be a longer section to it as well. So, for example, it could ask you could have maybe 3 or 4 questions based off a source, and then the 5th or 6th question could be like, explain how the plantations impacted on Ireland. And so it's important to know how it impacted on things like language, religion, new people. For example, we had British people coming here, laws, land ownership, farming methods, and conflict. So it's very important to have a good grasp of them, how it impacted on Ireland. Okay, again, didn't appear on any exam yet. So that's kind of a reason why I believe it could be a potential safe bet to appear on your junior cycle exam. The fourth prediction for the junior cycle history exam is this topic: the parliamentary tradition in Irish politics. Now, again, it simply has not appeared on the exam yet in any way, shape, or form, wasn't on the sample paper. Okay, again, it's likely going to be a source question with a long account style question at the end. So, for example, what might this look like? There could be a source-based question on Daniel O'Connell, and then it might say, like a part G or an F might say, okay, apart from O'Connell, write about the life of another key member involved in the Irish parliamentary tradition. Okay, now it's very, very important, you must know about two leaders, because on the strands, they're like the instructions teachers get, so we know what to teach you guys. It's very specific. It says that students are to investigate the lives of two leaders involved in the Irish parliamentary tradition. So you need to know two, okay? So chances are, I'd say everyone probably did Daniel O'Connell. And then your second guy could have been John Redmond. It could have been Charles Stewart Parnell. It could have been David Trimble. Okay, it maybe could have been Bernadette Devlin. Okay, but you must know about two of them, because two are going to come up on the exam. And you know, it'll be a source-based question on one person, and then maybe it'll ask you to write an account on someone else. So you need to know about two of them. That is really, really, really important. The fifth prediction for the exam is going to be, it's the experience of women in 20th century Ireland. Again, like the other topics, guys, it is yet to appear. It is yet to appear on any exam. So the chances of it coming up are quite strong. Okay. So again, look, probably a source-based question, but you need to be able to write an account or understand maybe at least three areas where women's lives changed. Okay, that could be working life, for example, the marriage bar being abolished. It could be voting rights, for example, women getting the right to vote in 1918, but then getting equal voting status with men in 1922. It could be in sports, for example, the foundation of the LGFA. Okay, it could be, you know, in basic women's rights, like, for example, the closing of the Magdalen laundries, the legalization of things like divorce and contraception. Okay, and the participation of women in things such as 1916 through Cumann na mBan. There's loads of ways women's lives were, you know, changed, and loads of ways the 20th century was significant for the lives of women. So really, really, really important that you maybe know 3 to 4 areas where women's lives change, and you can write an account on these. Again, you know, the European Union, you could bring in the European Union, which will be our next thing as well, because the European Union did a lot to advance the rights of Irish women. And that brings us, guys, to our very, very final prediction, which is, it's kind of like almost a double topic. So the first thing is the European Union. Okay, now the question might not be worded as European Union. It'll be probably worded as, like, you know, write about an organization that promotes cooperation. You know, you might have done the UN. So that's absolutely fine. If you want to talk about the UN, most textbooks do deal with the European Union. Okay, and then Ireland's links with Europe. So Ireland's links specifically with the European Union are very important. Again, why are we predicting this? Well, it is yet to appear on the exam. Did not come up on the exam last year or the year before. Quite surprising it didn't come up last year, because last year, 2023, was actually the 50th anniversary of Ireland joining the EU. So I think we as teachers and students were quite surprised it didn't appear. Okay. So what to know with this? Well, you need to make sure you understand the benefits of being an EU member state. So, for example, things like the common travel area, the common euro currency, they make trade easier. The removal of tariffs, which restrict trade. Things like the common agricultural policy. You know, the UN Courts of Justice, UN declarations of human rights and things like that. And then specifically how it's benefited Ireland. Okay, so for example, Ireland has, you know, Irish farmers benefit greatly from the CAP. We've attracted loads of foreign investment because we're an EU member. So there's loads of ways that Ireland has benefited from the EU. Okay, guys, so that is it for our junior cycle history predictions video. Now, just to wrap it up, there's a few things I'll talk about here. So in May, we are running 1-day intensive revision courses, okay? And these courses offer loads and loads of fantastic benefits to you as a student. So it'll be like a 3 to 4 hour online grind by, I suppose, ran by a teacher, okay? You will go through exam technique. Teachers will most likely be going through a lot of topics that, will have been covered in these revision videos. They're alive, so they're interactive. So you will log into them and you can ask and answer as many questions. There's again a focus on the common topics and probable questions for particularly Leaving Cert students. Okay, so make sure to get onto our website very, very soon because these fill up quite quickly. And remember, guys, if you want access to the full revision package, so for example, access to the full junior cycle history course, you can use the code 2024 tips for 10% off. Okay, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I really hope you found this video to be beneficial, and the very best of luck in June.